300 years after my death, I opened my eyes again, only to find every single one of my disciples had become an absolute legend. My first disciple's body was unmatched, dominating the entire righteous path. My second disciple could read the heavens and see through all things. Even the little beggar I casually took in had become an empress. And it all started 300 years ago. I was one of the greatest cultivators in this world. I took in 100 incredibly gifted disciples, but fate wasn't on my side. I only lived to 200 and died of natural causes. But 300 years later, the system brought me back to life and told me, earn enough worship from my disciples and I'd live forever. Before I could even celebrate, I realized my cultivation had dropped to less than a tenth of what it used to be. But with countless techniques still locked in my memory, getting back to the top was only a matter of time. First things first, I needed to get out of here. With that thought, I headed straight for the valley exit. At the valley entrance, a few disciples from the Qingyuan sect stood guard. Senior brother, what's the deal with this valley? Why did the Empress send us to guard it? This is where the Holy Master was buried. They say most of the big shots across every major faction were his disciples, even the Empress herself. What a shame, though. The Holy Master was just born with a short lifespan. Before he could finish, footsteps echoed from inside the valley, and a young man walked out. He cupped his hands and asked, "Hey friends, which way to Kangyun town?" The guards froze up and forgot to answer. The young man shook his head and just walked away. It wasn't until he disappeared from sight that everyone snapped back to reality. Someone just came out of the valley. The senior disciple's face went pale. He shouted, "Move! Go report to the Empress and all the peak masters, now!" And with that, he bolted back toward the sect. Inside the Qingyuan sect's main hall, Empress Su Qingyuan sat on her throne in a purple gold robe, cold, composed, and commanding. The moment she heard the urgent report, she shot to her feet. A terrifying peak-level aura exploded and swept through the entire hall. What did you just say? Someone came out of the Holy Master's forbidden ground? The disciple who delivered the report was shaking in his boots and quickly told her everything he'd seen. A young man, early divine refinement stage by the looks of it, with an extraordinary presence. He asked for directions to Kangyun town and left. Su Qingyuan was shaken to her core. She had placed the Qingyuan heavenly seal over that forbidden ground. Not even the top experts of this era could slip in undetected. She forced down the excitement and unease rising in her chest. Then she gave the order in a steady voice. Send word. Lock down Kangyun town. Search every inch within 1,000 miles for this young man. And whatever you do, do not be disrespectful. By then, I had already crossed over the mountains, and the sight in front of me left me speechless. The little Kangyun town I remembered had grown into a massive, magnificent city. I followed the crowd inside. Shops lined every street. The place was buzzing with people. Absolute chaos in the best way. I stopped at a tea stall and started asking an old man about Kangyun City. I also casually brought up a high-ranking female cultivator surnamed Chen. The old man just shook his head. If you want info, he said, head to the Tianji Pavilion on the east side of the city. That's your spot. As long as you've got enough spirit stones, there's nothing they can't find out. I made my way to the Tianji Pavilion, a 9-story bronze tower standing tall on the street, covered in flowing runes. The plaque read, "Know the heavens above, know the earth below." And something about that hit me. That was my second disciple's catchphrase. I sat down and cut straight to the point. "I'm looking for Su Qingyuan." The attendant went pale on the spot, dropped his pen, and frantically looked around. "Sir, watch what you say," he whispered. "You can't just call the Empress by her name like that. If the royal guards hear you, we're both dead. My history with her runs deep. Just tell me where she is." He said the Empress stays at the Qingyuan sect. That's her home base. I was just about to leave when a commotion broke out. A group of Qingyuan sect disciples burst in, surrounding a poisoned young girl. The one in front, Lin Wanqing, slammed her hand on the counter and shouted, "My junior sister Lin Yueyao has been severely poisoned. We need to find the 9-leaf vitality herb. I'll pay any price." Lin Weiyao's face had turned dark, black smoke swirling around her. I spoke up. "If you use the 9-leaf vitality herb, your junior sister will be dead within 30 breaths." "What did you just say?" "She was bitten by a 7-vein corrosion snake, pitch black body, 6 silver rings dividing it into 7 segments. Its venom feeds on life force. The 9-leaf vitality herb would only make it worse and it'll speed up the poison." Qin Mufeng, a disciple from Medicine King Valley, stepped forward with a shout. "Nonsense! The 9-leaf vitality herb is a legendary medicine. Who are you to trash talk it?" The crowd joined in, mocking me for talking out of nowhere, but I didn't even flinch. All the noise around me might as well have been silence. Qin Mufeng stepped up, fuming. "Do you even know what level of divine herb the 9-leaf vitality herb is? If there's a poison it can't cure, no one in this world can." "Exactly. That herb is legendary. I've heard even severely wounded powerhouses were saved by it. A Medicine King Valley disciple wouldn't lie." The crowd erupted in agreement. Qin Mufeng ate it all up, looking more smug by the second. He pointed to the emblem on his chest. "Do you know who I am? I'm a personal disciple of Medicine King Valley." I raised an eyebrow, a flicker of amusement crossing my face. "Wait, you don't even know what Medicine King Valley is? What rock have you been living under?" The crowd burst out laughing. People started pointing, giving me all kinds of looks. Lin Wanqing seemed to catch a glimmer of sincerity in my expression and explained, "Medicine King Valley is a sacred ground that appeared 300 years ago. It started as a tiny sect called the Holy Healer Hall. The Medicine King herself is named Lu Ling, the greatest healer on the entire continent. She's the only person who ever reached the Tao through medicine alone." At that, she glanced over at Lin Yueyao. Her voice was firm. "There's no one she can't heal. As long as you're not already dead, one trip to Medicine King Valley and you'll walk out good as new. Lu Ling? I froze for a second, completely in disbelief. That sickly little kid from 300 years ago actually became the Medicine King? Lin Wanking then spoke sincerely. Thank you for the heads up, but my junior sister's life is on the line. I hope you understand. I'm going to trust the Medicine King Valley disciple. Suit yourself. I glanced over at Lin Yueyao and shook my head. What a shame for this girl. Jin Mufeng was furious and about to charge at me, but right at that moment, the attendant who'd gone to fetch the herb came back. Lin Wanking followed the attendant to collect the medicine. Moments later, he handed Qin Mufeng an ornate box. Qin Mufeng took the 9-leaf vitality herb and quickly refined it into a pill, then gave it to Lin Yueyao. The moment it touched her lips, it dissolved instantly. It turned into a stream of green light and flowed into her body. Lin Yueyao's pale face slowly started to regain some color. The dark smoke around her began to fade, and her breathing started to even out. But before Qin Mufeng could even gloat, everything went sideways. Lin Yueyao suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Her vitals completely crashed and she fell unconscious. I looked like I'd seen it all coming. I told you, the 9-leaf vitality herb speeds up the poison. She doesn't have much time left. Lin Wanking completely fell apart. She dropped to her knees in front of me, tears streaming down her face. Please, save her. The Qingyuan sect will pay any price. I let out a quiet sigh and nodded. Fine. Out of respect for the Empress, I'll save her. I turned to Qin Mufeng. Hand over all the toxic ingredients on you and your pill furnace. He stood there stunned, but did it anyway. I sat down cross-legged, snapped my fingers, and sent true fire into the furnace, then tossed in several toxic materials, completely ignoring compatibility rules. What kind of alchemy is this? This is insane. Even if you're making poison, you can't just throw everything in together. Does he think he's making soup? Those rules are for amateurs. The words had barely left my mouth when the furnace spirit awakened, golden light rippling across its entire surface. I added the final catalyst, and the furnace rose into the air. As the toxic mist churned inside, a dark green pill flew straight into my palm. 7-star detox pill. Take it within 3 breaths. The poison will purge itself. Lin Wanking gritted her teeth and fed the pill to Lin Yueyao. 3 breaths later, Lin Yueyao vomited out black blood. Her color came back and she slowly opened her eyes. Jin Mufeng stood there in complete shock, then bowed respectfully. Senior, your skills are godlike, I stand corrected. I was just about to leave when Lin Wanking suddenly stepped in front of me.